If you are a founder who's already doing well, but nobody outside of your existing network knows who you are, then this YouTube founder-led content strategy is going to solve that for you. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact strategy that turns you into that go-to authority for your specific niche, bringing in large amounts of inbound leads who are already sold before they ever get on the phone with you. And for context, I've probably booked over 500 calls for all the clients that we have previously worked with. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that for yourself. Nothing better than a nice black coffee in an Arsenal cup. If you know, then you know. But anyways, let's start with a point number one. And I think the most important thing to understand first is essentially why. Why YouTube specifically? Well, most people that are watching this that have a successful business that have already done well have some sort of outbound systems that they got going on, right? They've all have done it through mostly outbound. And this could include, anything from cold email to, LinkedIn, any sort of DMs really, right? Just DMs. So that could be LinkedIn, that could be Insta, that could be Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And if you have got some inbounds previously, that's maybe you've posted some LinkedIn content, you've posted a few tweets, you've probably got some referrals, people coming in from your already existing network. Like I mentioned in the intro, you've only got leads from the existing network if they have come from inbound. Now, if you have done outbound, which majority of people's how they build their business is through doing outbound, essentially the one thing that is an issue with outbound is that all these deals start at essentially zero, right? They don't know you, they don't trust you, they have no idea who you are. You've enticed them with a good offer, because that's essentially what makes out any sort of cold outbound work, is just a really good offer. You've enticed them, you've worded it in a way that is intriguing to them, so now they've responded to you. But every single deal starts at a big fat zero. But YouTube changes that. When you have a YouTube channel, this now changes. This fat zero turns into leads who already trust you, right? Because they probably watched a few videos. They see that you are legit, right? They see you as an authority, because again, they see the results you've got, they see how you can articulate yourself, they see that you know what you are talking about, they understand that you understand them by the way you talk and the way you describe problems in your videos. And this kind of links to the next one, which they're also pre-educated, right? Because again, they see that you know exactly what you're talking about, they can actively see your results on screen. Now, this all means that your sales process becomes infinitely easier because they now have YouTube. They see your face, they hear you talk, they see that you understand their problem, they see that you know what they see that you know what they're going through, right? And these are all things that are going to play contributing factors for you to see overall better results. Because what tends to happen when you do any sort of cold outreach, any sort of cold DMs, people are going to search you up. And just think about the last time someone DM'd you or emailed you. Let's say LinkedIn DMs, right? What did you do? You clicked on the profile, you read through the profile, you maybe went on the website through the profile and you see what it's about, and then you go back and respond to them. Or maybe someone emailed you, right? Cold email. What did you do? You copied and pasted the you copied and pasted the .com, whatever it is. You pasted it into Google and you found their website. You saw what they did and you thought, okay, this is of interest. Let me reply back to them. So every single time, well, I don't say every single time, but majority of times when you cold outreach someone, when you cold outbound someone, whatever the correct terminology is, they are going to search you up. Now, if they come and they do find, as I mentioned, this big fat YouTube channel, then that zero now turns into all of this. So then they do book the call. And maybe before the call, they're going to watch a few of your videos, making your sales process become infinitely easier. And this is probably the biggest advantage of YouTube itself. Forget the actual inbound leads. Forget the fact that you can build a really cool, nice personal brand where people come to you organically. I mean, yes, obviously that the long-term goal is much more than this. But the instant result that you're going to see from YouTube is results within your outbound. Whilst you might not see, you're actually going to see your results from outbound go higher or better, get better results, right? Better KPIs. And you're going to be thinking, why? Maybe you tweaked the messaging, maybe, you're targeting better people, maybe you fixed the lead list, maybe you did this and that. But really and truly, the only reason that does that, if you had started a YouTube channel, is because they have now searched you, they have found a YouTube channel, and they now trust you, they see you as an authority, and they're also pre-educated. They're much more likely to come and buy from you, regardless of the size of the channels, right? And another key thing that we have to understand about YouTube is, because a lot of people like to focus on ads and outbound, right? And by the way, before I even get onto that, this is the same thing with ads, right? I didn't even mention that, but this is just also the same thing with ads, right? People are going to search you up, and they ideally, hopefully, should find a YouTube channel, which again is going to just bring you better results from your ads. But the thing is, right, unlike ads or cold outbound, once this stops, all results, I can't spell, but all results stop, right? When you stop doing outreach, when you stop running your ads, the results are straight away going to stop. However, when it comes to YouTube, right, YouTube doesn't just automatically stop pushing out your videos because you don't want to outreach anymore. YouTube are still going to push out videos, and we have clients whose videos after 200, 300 days are still being pushed by YouTube. They're still actively getting views, right? And these are videos from months and months and months ago. They're still being pushed, they're still bringing results because YouTube compounds. Unlike when you post on LinkedIn or when you post on X or when you post on Instagram, right, that gets lost within the feed. With YouTube, it compounds, right? I can't spell. It compounds, it never stops. It's going to continuously push and push and push and push and push your videos as long as it's done correctly. If the video is not good, if people are not liking it, people don't watch it, whatever, then obviously it's going to stop. But if the video is good, if it's bringing value, if you've done everything correctly, which we're going to go through in this video, then YouTube will continuously keep pushing that video regardless of if everything stops. And if you continue posting more content, then all those videos, you're going to have multiple videos simultaneously working for you, right? Someone will come in for one video and then watch another one and another one, another person will find a completely different video and watch that one and then find you through there. Another person's going to watch one maybe posted 6 months ago, maybe someone's just found one that you've just posted, so they're going to click on that, then they're going to find, well, whatever it is, right? All of this compounds, it just never stops. Once it's running, once it's done properly, it's never going to stop, right? It's just going to bring continuous leads. But let's actually talk about how we start seeing these results, right? Let's get into some really valuable stuff. But hopefully, the whole point of that I'm trying to show this is how valuable YouTube is and how important every single person should be taking it, because it's literally the backbone. It's literally real estate for your business, right? It's somewhere where someone's going to click on and they can instantly be sold, right? Someone who is doubting you, someone who doesn't trust you, someone who doesn't think you really know your stuff. Maybe you have some case studies on your website, but I don't know about this person, or should I pick this person or that person? I guarantee you they're going to pick the person who has a YouTube channel, unless that person has in the most insane amount of case studies. But even then, it's going to be a sense of, I don't know if I trust this person, because what do you mean you've got all these crazy results but I can't see any proof of it? Most of the time they're going to pick the person with the YouTube channel. Now, one really important thing that I want people to think about, which actually a lot of people don't think about when it comes to YouTube, is it's a bit of a mindset shift, right? You need to stop. All right, let's just get serious here. Stop selling your service. I don't know why did I random. Anyways, stop selling your service, right? We are not here to sell your service, right? We are here to sell you, right? People already know that your service works most of the time. We're talking general here. Obviously, there's going to be certain anomalies, but we're not talking about specifics, right? Super specifics. We're talking about the general people, right? People already know that your service works. Whether you do any sort of outbound, whatever sort of marketing that you do, people know marketing works. That's why they actively do it. That's why they're actively looking for people to do it. But you have to sell yourself, right? And yourself doesn't mean like specifically you. It could be your way of doing things. It could be the results that you've got. It could even be your character on videos that sells it for you, because people now just want to work with someone that they see as a good character type of person they would love to work with. So the whole goal of YouTube is to sell you. We're not trying to sell cold email versus cold DMs. We're not trying to sell video outreach versus text-based outreach, right? We are trying to sell you, right? Because people are not searching. Right, when it comes to YouTube, people are not searching for proof that the method works. They're not trying to. They're just trying to find the best person that they can get the best results from, or who is going to teach them the best, right? Who's going to give them the most value in a single video, and that is the person that they're going to watch, and eventually the person that they're going to buy from. Now, don't get me wrong. There's specific sub niches within like overall services. For example, cold email is a massive market on YouTube, and one way that our client has seen incredible results is by really focusing on video outreach. But still, again, there's lots of people that are posting content around video outreach, but it's all about making you special, because every single video should be answering one specific question, right? Why should I trust this person? Right? Why should they trust you? What experience do we have? What does your system look like? What results have you got? What's your specific angle, right? What is the thing that nobody else can replicate apart from you? And maybe you've just done more of it than everybody else. And again, that is not you selling your service, right? You're not selling the fact that you do cold email. You're selling the fact that you've done and you've sent way more cold emails than everyone else. And therefore, you know how to get good results from cold email. And you're not trying to essentially convince a person why cold email works. And yes, I know that in the start of this video, I went through why YouTube, right? And that's okay. Right, I went through why YouTube, but within that, we're talking about certain results I've got, certain people that I've worked with, certain clients that I work with, but also it's also to get you in the mindset to fully understand that yes, this is actually what I want, just to reassure you. Or if you are not too sure, because don't get me wrong, people are not going to be 100% sure on your product. And by the way, I might be going back and forth here, but I'm just trying to say, whilst you might have a specific segment on why your thing, for example, you do again cold email, but you specialize in video outreach like our client does, you might have a specific section on why video outreach, but then that's still not what's going to sell it. What's going to sell it is the results that you've got, the experience that you've got, the way you articulate that subject, your specific character, and the value that you are giving people. So that is what you have to focus on when it comes to YouTube, right? People want to work with people that they trust, right? And once you get to a certain spot, you could sell any single service. But when you can build up this, as we're going back to the perfect founder-led content strategy, once you can build this persona where people completely trust you, they know what you're talking about, and you've got the experience to back it, they'll buy anything from you. It doesn't matter what it is, right? So incredibly important to understand that as a first thing when we're going to talk about how to create the perfect content strategy. And by the way, if you are a founder who has a pretty good business, or you're running any sort of business that is getting good results at the moment and you want help with building all of this out, I'm just booking a call down below. We can walk through how we can help you and build out your entire YouTube content strategy to get you insane amounts of results for your business. But anyways, let's just start going through some basics and some simple understandings of what is going to make this exact system of YouTube work, right? And if you think, oh, I don't need to understand the basics, I just right, this is going to go through everything that you need to actually get good results. So these are the fundamentals. These are things you can't skip, right? So the first thing that we have to understand is that if no one clicks, no one watches, and if no one watches, no one buys. business side. And if no one clicks, YouTube also doesn't push. So before you ever think about recording any sort of video, right, before you think about pressing record and sitting down and spitting facts and doing all of this and talking all of this, you have to come up with some sort of packaging that you are extremely confident is going to work. Now, how are you extremely confident it's going to work? Number one, you've probably seen some proof somewhere that someone else has had a similar idea, similar topic, similar title, similar thumbnail, and it has worked for them. Or you just know your audience extremely well. Maybe you've had a post on LinkedIn or a post on X or a post on Instagram that has done extremely well. Now you're converting it into a YouTube video. You need some sort of indication that this works. A lot of the time, the way that we do this is by just doing in-depth YouTube research and understanding what sort of videos have performed for that specific niche, which titles, which thumbnails, which everything, right? But before you ever press record and do anything like that, you have to understand and feel confident, right, with some specific proof that this is a proven concept and a concept that can work. And if you're sitting there and you're really struggling to come up with any sort of thumbnail concept, and maybe you're just not experienced enough, and that's completely fine, but if you're struggling to come up with a thumbnail concept or you just can't think of a good title, then there is no point of making that video. Because if it's a video with a crappy title and a crappy thumbnail and no one ever clicks it, then there's no point of recording that video because nobody's ever going to click it. So what's the point of recording it? So the first thing you have to do is have to come up with a packaging that you are confident is going to work, a title that's going to work, a thumbnail that goes with that title that is also going to work, a topic that has performed well or is going to perform well. And by doing that, you are almost ensuring that you are not wasting your time recording, and you can actually go into recording feeling a lot more confident. All right, number two, and by the way, this is not in particular order, these are the things you have to understand before you click record. Number two, the algorithm, if I spelled that right, rewards content that keeps people watching. Now, a lot of people get confused and maybe are not sure about what exactly makes YouTube push out your video, and there's so many factors that go into it, but one of the most important ones is the content that keep people watching, the content that has the highest amount of watch time specifically. And I've seen videos that have an insane amount of click rate, right, and which you can call content, well, which you consider I've lost my track of thought now. Which you consider clickbait, right? You see a clickbait video and it gets insane amount of clicks, right? It gets loads of clicks. The click rate is super high, but YouTube doesn't push it out a lot. Why? Because people are not watching, right? You can have a video that has really good click rate, but then people just click off after 10 seconds and just don't watch the rest of the video. The video gets practically no watch time. So why would YouTube push out that video? Because YouTube ideally want people to stay on their platform. Like any other platform, YouTube want people to stay on their platform as long as physically possible, for as long as they can. Because the longer that someone is on YouTube, the more money they're going to get, because the more time someone's on YouTube, the more ads they're going to watch. So your goal is to keep people on the platform as long as possible, which makes it a bit difficult because we're on the platform to get people to buy, right? We want people to buy our thing. We want people to book a call. We want people to join our newsletter. So that is indirectly taken them off YouTube. But in order to also get people to buy, right, we have to keep them on the video for as long as possible. So there's a lot of moving parts that you have to consider here. Now, getting someone to watch a specific video is not the only way to improve their watch time. And by the way, to do that, there's essentially very simple step-by-step process that can work, which is like essentially you want the outro to be really good. You want to confirm the title of the body. You want to confirm the title of the video. You want to give some sort of social proof. You want to give people a reason to stay and watch that video. Then you have the body, which is essentially just giving out as much value as you physically can. And then outro, you essentially want to CTA to another video, because the reason you want to CTA to another video on top of your usual CTA for people to book a call or do whatever is because, right, not only do they does YouTube reward watch time, but they also reward session time. And session time means when someone goes from, let me not even do that. When someone goes from one video to another video to another video to another video. This is session time, and this is extremely powerful for multiple different reasons. Number one, YouTube will 100% push your video. If they see people going from one video to another video to another video to another video, YouTube will have no option but to push that video, and especially to more of those specific type of people. But what also happens is that when this person does this, number one, they're spending a lot of time with you, so they're building that trust, that authority that we were talking about. And number two, next time they come back onto YouTube, right? So they've gone to YouTube, they've gone to work, or they've gone out, or they've gone to deal with life, right? They've gone to deal with life. YouTube is then again going to push your video to them because they spent all that time with you, meaning that person, and once they come back on YouTube, again, your content's being pushed to them. I'm sure that's happened to you, where you find a random creator, you watch some of their video, and next time you come on YouTube, there they are again, and then you're intrigued to click on that video, and there they are again, and again and again and again and again, right? And essentially that's how you become an avid or regular viewer of someone, and for us that means eventually having someone that can come and buy from us. So it's incredibly important and by the way, I'm not going to go into extreme detail on how to create this content because I have more videos on how to build the exact content, how to make content that is going to bring you these results for people going from one video to the next. But essentially that is the whole goal, and you have to understand that when you start making your YouTube content. Now, basic number 3. Good. This goes back to a similar point that I was making earlier. What makes you different from everyone else? That is an interesting E. What makes you different from everyone else? What experience that you have that no one else has? What results that you have that no one else has? What values that you have that no one else has? What makes you different? And this is going to be the biggest factor in if people buy from you or not. Because if you just go and copy someone else's channel, same, and by the way, this is a technique that works, right? I'm not going to sit here and act like copying doesn't work. And when I say copying, I mean copying a topic, copying a title, copying a specific thumbnail, something that has worked before, something that is an outlier, which is just an anomaly for someone else. Essentially, a video that has performed way better than the average video. You go away and you copy that, and it is most likely going to work for you because that's just how the algorithm works, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on TikTok. You take someone's video that performed really well, you make the same video. It's the same reason why when you watch things on like reaction videos, right? Or when you watch, the people on TikTok that they watch a video and then they react to it after. The reason they perform more is because of that, not because of their reaction, right? Because that initial video is really popular and people watch it. Right? So if a video has done well, if a video is an outlier, there's a specific reason for it. If you can find that reason, copy that reason and make a video from it, then you are most likely going to have a video that also performs well. But you can't just copy and expect to get results. Whilst you might get views, you're not going to get any results for your business because you have to put yourself or make yourself different from everyone else. Because when you become different from everyone else, you give people a reason to buy again from you. Right? So what is it from you? And I can't answer this for you. It's about something that you have to look at yourself. But what would make someone choose you over the next person or the previous person or the other people that they watch? Why should they pick you? What is it about you? And I'm not going to go too much detail into that because that's for you to kind of go and figure out. Number 4, and this is for those who do not have a channel yet, and it's to simply understand that new channels take time to be pushed out, right? And the reason I'm going on to is because I want to tell you to essentially focus on one specific niche when starting out, and then you can brand out to others. And the reason I say that is because YouTube essentially does not trust any new channel. They're going to give you an opportunity, but they're going to give you a very small opportunity to do well. And you need to gain that confidence with YouTube. It's like building any sort of relationship. It's going to always start, a bit strange at the start, a bit like, oh, I don't know about this person, or I've got a bit, this person's a bit weird, I don't know about them, blah, 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 right? Same thing like as any relationship starts for the majority of the part. You're just a bit you're not sure about that person. And YouTube is the same with you. They are just not sure about you. So they might test you out, they might push you here, they might push you there, and they're just not going to be sure. Right? And over time, they're going to realize, okay, this person's cool. I like this person. I want to spend more time with them. I want to, in YouTube words, they're going to push you out a bit more. They're going to test you more. They're going to push you to more audiences. They're going to see who relates to your video. So when you can start with one specific niche, until you start seeing some good growth from YouTube, it just means that you be pushed to the same niche every single time and to the same people every single time, which is what you want, because you want to get good results, or really good results in terms of YouTube, in terms of watch time and click-through rate and all this sort of stuff that we talk about for session time. And if you are continuously just jumping from niche to niche to niche to niche to niche, or you're going super broad and then super niche and then going to talk about this something else, YouTube is just going to be a bit confused. They're not going to go to push you out to. They're going to try to push you out to all these different audiences. They're not going to react to it because they don't know you as well, and you're just not going to see results. So focus on one specific niche, focus on one specific persona, and you're going to see better. And we're going to go into this in a second, right? It's the next point. And focus on this niche first, before you essentially start branching out, right? Let YouTube trust you, let YouTube know who you are, and let YouTube understand who your audience is, and you're going to see much better results from that. So new channels take time to be pushed out, and that's completely fine. And if you have an audience anywhere else, if you've got LinkedIn and X and Insta that has and you have a pretty decent audience there, and even if you have a smaller audience, right, still start pushing your content out to these places so these people come in and YouTube see the exact person that's watching your content and start pushing it out to more of these people. Now, again, this leads me on to my next point. Really focus and pinpoint the exact person watching, I'm going to keep it spelled like that, your videos. And this is something that I've changed how I word it and how I say it from the past. This is not necessarily what you might consider your ICP, right? Because ICP, ideal client persona, profile, whatever you call it, but instead of focusing on who your ICP is, focus on who your ideal viewer is, because within your ideal viewer, it's still going to have your ICP. But it might be very, very slightly different. By focusing on your ideal viewer, the exact person that is going to actively watch your content, because you might have an exact ICP who you outreach to, but they might not be watching content. But who is the exact person who is also going to be some sort of ICP? Who is that exact person, the ideal viewer, who's actually watching your video? And this is going to slightly switch in how you think about making content when you start thinking about the exact person who is watching your videos. And when you're making content, it's extremely important that you try to adapt each single video to one specific person, right? Who is that exact person? What do they do? What activities do they like? How do they think? What are they into? What sort of business are they running? All of these sort of things, right? And this is for you to go away and actually jolt down and really, really consider before you even start to build a YouTube channel. But for each specific video, you should have a specific viewer, right? And you should be able to explain that viewer in a lot of detail. And one thing I told to everyone, just imagine when you're doing a YouTube video, you're speaking to that exact person. You're having a one-to-one, because I guarantee you've had many one-to-ones with people, and you've had like consulting calls, and you've spoke to people and all of this, and you feel a lot more comfortable when you're speaking to that exact person in that exact sitting, compared to just talking to a camera when you're just talking to yourself, which is a bit weird. And you think about, oh my gosh, I'm going to post this and all these people are going to watch it. Just think about talking to this exact person at that exact moment whilst you're recording, and just focusing on it like that. And I guarantee you're going to have a much better and easier time talking throughout that video, but also making the video extremely valuable to that specific person. So hopefully that makes sense. Next point, as I said, basics, but I don't know, maybe not basics. To me, basics, because this is all the things I consider when making a channel. And again, if you need help with this, just book a call below. Incredibly important, and something that I tell everyone and push to everyone and always make sure everyone knows before we work with them, is consistency. You have to stay consistent, especially if you have a new channel. And there's multiple reasons why you have to stay consistent. The first one might be that you're not very good at recording, right? You're not very comfortable on camera, and that is completely natural and normal. And again, go back to what I said here. It should help you to, be a bit more comfortable and normal on camera. But you have to stay consistent. And there's so many people, so many unfortunate channels where they do a couple of videos and they don't work, and then all of a sudden, oh, YouTube just does not work. YouTube is this, YouTube that, and you're not going to get results, right? You have to stay consistent, because YouTube is a long-term play. And it's the best long-term play that you could do for your business right now. And it's the only way that you're going to see good results from YouTube. Unlike when you start running ads, or unlike when you start doing outreach and DMs and any sort of marketing, right? That's not YouTube. You could see results within the same hour, right? Within the same day, within the same week, you could already start seeing results. You could send out one very high, super personal outreach message today. That person sees it, they're completely amazed. They're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I want to work with you. They book a call, you book a call, you have the sales call. They're like, yes, this is perfect. This is what I want. They book a call. Within a day, you've now made X thousand amount of dollars. That's not going to happen with YouTube, right? You're not going to post one single video and it's going to, I mean, you might be able to post one single video, somehow that video blows up, or maybe you push it to the people that already know you on your other existing networks, and then they watch it, you're like, this person knows what they're talking about, let me actually book a call. I've seen this person post here for ages, but now they've done a video, now I already trust them more, now I see them as an authority more, as we was talking about earlier, then they book in a call. However, you most likely will not see results from this first video. What I recommend for everybody, and this is just because I want people to be comfortable, like, it's okay, go give it time, right? This is how much time I would recommend to minimum to give it, and that's 3 months or 90 days, whatever you want to call it, right? And when I say this, I don't mean, oh yeah, within those 3 months, like, oh, let's post 3 videos and we post within those 3 months, we posted 3 videos and they got no results. YouTube doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. We're talking about consistency. We're talking about at the minimum 1 a week. And I wouldn't, even then, right? Even then with 12 videos, I still would say, like, calm down, buddy. Like, let's keep just going, because these 12 videos might not get you results, right? We could be talking about 50 videos, 100 videos here, but the whole point is you can't just expect to do YouTube super inconsistently for a super short amount of time and expect to see results like you see with any sort of other outreach. However, and you're talking about, oh, why would I do this? Why can't I do outreach and get instant results? Which you can always recommend to do outreach alongside YouTube. But once you can do YouTube for a long enough time, and say we go from these 3 months to 90 days, and we're talking about 1 year on YouTube, right? 1 whole year on YouTube. And now we're looking at, 40 calls a month coming in. From these 40 calls, you're signing like maybe 10 people, right? These 10 people are paying you like, what, 5k a month at least, or 5k packages. And now you're making 50k a month from YouTube. And not even just that, but now you've got some sort of personal brand. So now people are constantly wanting to work for you, so you can get all the best stuff in the world, because people are like, oh, I want to work for this guy. He's got a really good channel. He's got a massive channel. You're also now seen as an authority. You can essentially work with anyone you want within the industry. This is what we're talking about, right? This is the sort of advantage that we're talking about. Forget these 3 months to 90 days where you might book 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 calls. Forget that, right? We're talking about a year's time when you're booking these calls consistently every single month. You have a personal brand. You have a brand that people want to work with, not just in terms of clients, but also in terms of employees. We have a brand where you're signing people every single month. You're making thousands and thousands, and this is just the bare minimum, right? And this is how your whole business is run. We have clients that we've been working for, coming up to a year now, and they went from getting no traction on YouTube to now most of their clientele are all coming from YouTube. Clients they never thought they would have worked with before, all coming from YouTube. All their money coming from YouTube. They don't even really have to do outreach anymore because it all comes from YouTube, right? And that is the whole point, right? It's a very long-term plan, and I don't even count a year as long, right? But within a year, stick to it, be consistent, right? And you could see these sort of results. The channels that win treat YouTube like a system, not a one-off project, which goes into everything that I've spoken about in the last whatever minutes it was. you need to treat YouTube like a system. It's not a one-off thing. Okay, I'm going to post a video and all of a sudden now I deserve all these results. I'm going to get results. Treat it like a system. Treat it as something that is in your calendar every single week, right? You have set time to record. You have a team that's going to help you with it. If you're not going to stay consistent at doing it yourself, have it as something that you treat as a system where you're analyzing results. Anyway, same way you do cold email, same way you do cold outreach, and you've got all these trackers and you've got all these results and you're seeing where the money's come from and you're seeing how many calls you're booking. Treat it as a system, because once you can treat it as a system and you can analyze each specific video or each specific month or what's performing well, what's not performing well, when you can double down what's performing well, you are going to see much better results. And again, think of it as a long-term play rather than I'm going to post one video, I'm going to get results. And hopefully that makes sense. So that is a lot of the basics, right? And it's a lot of things that you have to consider when you are starting YouTube. So one thing that I would like to get into, because it's incredibly important, and it goes back to this number one point, right? If no one clicks, no one watches, no one buys, YouTube doesn't push. And this all comes down to actually finding ideas that your audience is going to watch. As I said, your ideal viewer, not essentially who your ICP is. So how do we find ideas? And this is what we're going to go into next. My camera decided to run out of storage, so hopefully not too much of that was missed. That keeps happening, happened last video as well, but what can we do? Anyways, how do we find ideas? And the first step to finding ideas is, number one, just use your sales calls. Your sales calls is going to have an unlimited amount. I mean, depending on how many you've had. If you've only had 5, you might struggle a bit. But if you have had many multiple sales calls, and this could be even 10, should be enough to give you a lot of information, a lot of data. Extract all the main questions that people are asking, right? What are the top questions? And you have to do this yourself. Just go into any sort of AI, give it the transcripts and say, what are the most common questions that people are asking? I'll also recommend to rank those questions, because once you can rank those questions, you can see the ones that people are actually asking the most. And you might have an idea of this yourself, but get your sales calls, extract all the transcripts, get any sort of AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever you use to extract all the main questions, and that is going to start giving you a list, right? A list of key pain points, which we're now going to use to essentially start doing research for specific YouTube ideas. But not only is this going to give you ideas for videos, it's also going to help you understand, and you can ask the same AI to do this, the specific language that your audience is using, a specific way they speak, how they word things, and this should be something that is running through your content, right? Within your thumbnails, within your titles, within the way that you speak on camera, within the way that you word things, and this is the reason to do is because it's just going to resonate with your ideal viewer, your ICP, a lot more when you can essentially do it like that. Now, another way you can do this is just through having ideas, right? Just through knowing your audience, through understanding your audience, through specific conversations that you have with specific people. It doesn't even have to be, always your exact ICP. It could be with, a friend or a partner or at the pub. Wherever you're having these conversations, you're going to naturally come up with ideas. It could be in the shower. Just make sure you are always constantly jolting down these ideas, because these ideas might then, right, these ideas that you kind of get out of nowhere, you might start seeing patterns. Maybe this one is the same as this one. Oh, and you see a pattern there. Okay, so this idea came to me. I think it's going to be a really good idea. That's going to resonate with my audience. And then I look at my sales transcripts and they're also asking the same thing. Bish, bosh, bang. That's probably a good idea. Now, another way you can, and to define a way to kind of connect these two, right, in like a big connection, will be through YouTube, right? Because then you're going to get these ideas and you're going to start searching them on YouTube. And if you have an idea that you thought about that would resonate with your audience, but it's also within the transcripts, and you also go on Google, and people most likely, because it's their key pain point, most likely there's already an idea on YouTube or a video that someone has filmed on YouTube that is going to give you the same, that's probably getting good results. So if you now go on YouTube and you find that same idea on YouTube and it's getting good results, what does that mean? That means it's probably a very, very good idea. So before we get a bit ahead of ourselves there, what are we actually looking for when we go to sort of search these on YouTube, right? The biggest number one indicator that it's a really good idea will be, And I sort of touched on this in earlier in the video, which by the way, I don't know how long this video's going to be. But when you find these outliers, what these outliers are is essentially anomalies within someone's YouTube channel. So if someone is averaging 100 views per video, then they get a video that has 10,000 views compared to their standard 100 views, then that is a clear outlier. That is clearly a video that is outperforming any other video they have. Now that is a really big outlier, but there could be a video that instead of getting 100 views is now getting 500 views, or maybe 1,000 views, or maybe 5,000 views. And any of these are different outliers. They're just at different levels. So one might be a 2x outlier, one might be one might be an 100x outlier. And these are the biggest outliers you ideally want to look for. But any sort of outliers will help you. And what I recommend to really find these outliers is get something called vidIQ, and you can get this as a Chrome extension or YouTube extension on YouTube. And essentially what it's going to do when you find a video, it's going to have obviously the thumbnail here, and it's going to have a title, and in the little corner there, I think it's there, it will have like a something X, right? And essentially what that's going to give you is how big of an outlier it is. So if it's in 100x, it's performing 100 times better than all their other videos, and sometimes more because it goes up to 100, right? But if the channel's averaging 100 views and they get 100,000, that's obviously better than 100x outlier. But then you ideally want to just find 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, right? All these different ones, and you want to find these outliers because an outlier signifies that this is a really good idea and a topic that has outperformed everything else. And essentially from these outliers, you want to figure out why, right? Why is that video an outlier? Is it a specific topic? Is it a really good title that everyone wants to click? Is it a thumbnail? Is it and by the way, these, you have to be careful when you're looking at these, because if you're looking at videos that are a few years old and even though they're outliers, you might have to think, okay, what was going on at that time? Was this software or this specific thing really popular at the time, so everyone was watching content on it? Whatever it is, you essentially want to take that and you take the why, and then you want to implement it into your video, right? So you want to take that why and you want to implement it into your video, because a lot of the time, if that video is an outlier, whatever reason it is, and you implement that to your own video, there's a good chance that your video could essentially, even if it's not an outlier, should perform really, really well. And this is something that, by the way, does not take you 5 minutes to do. This is something that could take you a very, 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 very long time to do. Another thing to just know, and there's something that vidIQ is also really helpful with, is the views per hour. And the views per hour is really important because, as I just mentioned, right, some videos might have been outliers, but they were posted 2-3 years ago, which, as I mentioned before, YouTube keeps pushing out videos. So the reason you're seeing a video from 2-3 years ago is because YouTube still pushed it out. But the most important thing from those older videos to see the views per hour, if that views per hour is extremely low and essentially not getting any views anymore, then it might be an idea that you might have to like rethink of, because maybe people are not watching that idea anymore. Maybe it's just a bit out of date, even though it's an outlier. So something that's very important to keep an eye on. And another reason on the why, because I realized I kind of just went into just the packaging itself, but sometimes it's the structure of the video, sometimes it's the way that they open the video, sometimes it's even the editing that they use. A lot of time it's not, right? Editing's not the most important, but sometimes it is that, right? So maybe it's with the format of the video. Are they full talking head? Are they kind of doing a whiteboard thing like this? Is it an in real life whiteboard? Is it whatever the sort of video is? These are all things you have to take in consideration. And then what you're going to do when you're also doing these YouTube research and you find these outliers, you might see that there is patterns. So you might see that for this specific video, for this specific topic, for this specific idea, this is multiple channels that are actually also finding outliers for this specific outlier. So that is going to give you an even bigger indication of the why. When you find these patterns, first of all, gives you a better indication that, okay, this is definitely a video I should do. And number two, it gives you an indication of the why that is performing well. So incredibly important. Now, if you want to find the best outliers, right? How do you find the single best outliers, the ones that you are confident is going to perform better than anything else? Is essentially an outlier where there is no other videos on that specific topic. Why? Because that means that video is an outlier, so people are watching that video, but there's not any other single video on that specific topic, meaning that if you now go make a video on a video that is an outlier, that is still actively getting views per hour, and there's not really any other videos on it, there's a very, very, very good chance that you are going to see a result from that. And we've seen this recently with a client of ours, and I'll post it, potentially put this image on the screen so you can see the exact video on the topic. But anyways, and the way we done that is because we found a really good outlier, and to be honest, the outlier wasn't a great video, it was a really good topic, not a great video, and no one else had really done a video on that topic, so we just did it ourselves, and it got it was a really good outlier basically, right? And it got really good results for the client. Now, another thing that you can do with vidIQ, which I'd recommend to do, is when you essentially find these outliers, or you find these pain points, right? You want to go to vidIQ itself, and I've got the paid version. I'm not sure what the free version gives, and you want to find essentially keywords that are being highly searched. That's meant to be an arrow, by the way, but extremely low competition. And based on your niche, right, highly searched could be like anything where like 5,000 and plus maybe. And competition, ideally you want to look at 20 and below, right? And essentially the reason you want to find these exact keywords, and when you find the exact keywords, it's going to help you in further down the process, because when you find the exact keywords, it means that people are searching these specific topics, people are searching these specific questions, these specific pain points, but there's just not great videos out there. And it could be there's just no recent ones, or it's just the ones that are out there are just not getting great views, or it's very sporadic. So you want to find these exact keywords. And again, this is something that it's not going to take you 5 minutes. This is something that when we start working with a new channel, this is something that takes us hours, right? Many hours to essentially find all these different topics. And it's something that we do every single week for every single channel to make sure we're always on top, and we make sure we're competing for the best keywords, the best outliers for that specific niche. And it's incredibly important that you do all of this before you commit to doing any single video. Look at the difference that this does compared to someone just, oh yeah, I had an idea, let me record this video, let me post this video and see how it goes. So incredibly important that all of this is done prior to recording the video to make sure that you get the best possible results. And again, you're a founder, you don't have time, right? You're probably looking at this, I don't want to do all this. So if you want help with this, just book a call down below. We can walk through how exactly we can help you to ensure that you are going to get the best possible results from YouTube. But anyways, the one thing we're going to keep coming back to this video is, now that you've found these outliers, right? So you've got the outlier, right? You have to make it unique. That's meant to be a Q to you. And what I mean by this is you do not want to copy that outlier word for word, right? We want to take the elements of it that did work and figure out why it did work and take those elements and make it to our video. But we want to be unique, right? We want to lead what makes us unique. What is our USP for this specific video? Because people might find, right, 3 of the same videos, and one of them is you. Why should they pick your one? Why should they click on your one compared to others? Why should they go with you rather than these two? What makes you unique? That means that they're going to come and buy from you. And the key point is that they want to leave watching your video as if they got all the information they need. You don't want them to finish their video and think, oh, now I've got this or this question, and then they're going to go and watch this one, and then they might go watch this one, and now they're debating, oh, I don't know which one to pick. But you know what? Since this is the last one I watched, they gave me the most value, I just want to book a call with them. Right? Because like, I forgot about you now, because you're all the same. But if they now open the video and they're just surprised, they're like, wow, this guy's amazing, look at the results he's got, look at how he talks, look at how he describes it, look at how he broke this down, look at the value that he's given me. I don't need to go watch these two, right? I don't need to go watch these 2 videos. So instead, I'm just going to book a call with this guy, right? Which is you. So make sure you lead with what makes you unique, and that is going to, I guarantee you, bring you the best possible results alongside all the research that we have just done to actually find this outlier. Now, moving on from that, there's 3 types of content that you should be making, right? The 3 types. Wow, that is a bit embarrassing. But hopefully, if you've been watching for this long, which if you have, I mean, fair enough. Hopefully you don't care about that anymore. Anyways, the 3 types of content that you should be making, and I don't know, very similar to other sorts of marketing. We have top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel, right? So what is top of funnel? Top of funnel is essentially going to be the how-tos, right? The outlier videos that I just showed you, so the outlier type of videos, the more broad content. And the whole purpose of this is for people to essentially discover your channel. All right, they are solely there for people to find and discover your channel. And a lot of the time when you're starting out, this is what you want to focus on. So the more people find your channel, the more they stick around, right? So that is the whole point of the top of funnel, right? Make it as broad as possible, reach as many people as you possibly can, get as many people into the funnel as possible. Then we have the middle funnel, and these are the more sort of really in-depth explainer videos, the ones that are more specific to exactly what you do. Maybe you're breaking down a result that you got, right? More personality driven. And the goal of these ones is to start essentially selling you, right? So the viewers coming through this more broad top of funnel content, and they found your channel, like, this guy's quite cool, he seems to know his stuff, let me see what else he's got. Then they find this more middle funnel where they see, you know, more explainer videos, more breaking down a specific result, more selling you. And then you have the bottom of funnel. And by the way, when we look at, if we have two scales here, right, and this one is views, let's just do a W. This one is views, and this one is buys, right? The views at this one is going to be the highest at the top, right? And then the views will come down, so it'll be less views. I am so sorry, but hopefully this is making sense. So the views here are going to be the highest, and then they will just come down here, right? So they're going to be the highest up here, right? The most views, and it's going to be least views. However, the buys at the top here are going to be the lowest, and you're going to get the most buys down here, because these bottom funnels are going to be, you know, client interviews. Essentially, that's mostly what the bottom of funnel is. You can have some maybe breakdown videos down here, but essentially the bottom of funnel is going to be just sort of like client interviews and like just talking about the results that you got, that sort of stuff. Not really giving that much value, all right? Because that's the point here, right? Middle funnels is essentially extremely value driven, right? But you have to remember who is actually going to be watching this, right? What sort of person, what sort of freak is going to watch a random client interview? Unless they're like in the middle, I should buy from this person, but I don't know yet, right? You drop a client interview, they see a client interview, they see the result that you got for someone that's in a very exactly position as them, and they want the result that person got, but they already know you, they already like you, they already trust you because they've watched your top funnel, they've watched your middle funnel, then they watch a client interview, right? It's going to get low views, but it's going to get the best results for your business, because this person is essentially just convinced themselves to come and actually book a call for you and buy from you. And when they do, then once they do book a call, it should be a super easy sell, because they've essentially most of the time gone through all of these. They know, like, and trust you. They've seen your client interview. They know you can get the results. So that's essentially the three sorts of content that you should be doing, and it's how we try to break it down. Now, in terms of what you should be doing every single month, what I recommend is at least one bottom of funnel. And by the way, the bottom of funnel could just be like an extra that you do. I wouldn't recommend it calling it like a weekly video. If you're doing one a week, I wouldn't maybe recommend to a client interview. Just throw a client interview whenever you can, right? But you should be focusing mostly on maybe two top of funnels, one bottom, if you're doing like that. But if not, if you're not considering this bottom of funnel as one, then just do two top funnels, two middle funnels, and you can alternate throughout based on the research and ideas that you find. But that's kind of what I recommend. I would definitely not recommend to do all top funnel, because you're just going to have, you know, and sometimes they won't even be that great of views, because you try to do top funnel, they might not perform that well. You're just going to feel crappy about yourself. So definitely mix between top funnel and middle funnel. This is a lot longer video than I expected, to be honest. Now, let's go a bit into titles, packaging, and thumbnails. As I mentioned before, So the whole goal of the title and the packaging and the thumbnail is to create in it as much FOMO as you possibly can. If you don't know what that means, essentially means the fear of missing out. And you want to create as much curiosity within that packaging as possible, right? You want someone to, because essentially most people, I would say 90%, I don't know the exact numbers, but we all know, when you probably know yourself, when you go on YouTube, the first thing you see is the thumbnail. That thumbnail has to create some sort of curiosity loop within your head, has to somehow grab your attention. I'm not saying sitting there, you have to be sitting there going, you know, or doing all that sort of stuff. I'm just saying that within that thumbnail, you have to create some sort of curiosity that your ideal viewer, again, is going to look at and be intrigued. And then once they're intrigued, that they're going to read the title. Now, your title cannot be the same as the thumbnail, right? If you're using text within the thumbnail, make sure it's different from the title, because essentially the thumbnail and the title, you need them working together, right? You do not want them to be the same thing. You want them working together, both create some sort of curiosity loop, both bringing in some sort of desire to watch the video, and both increasing that FOMO, because the more FOMO that you have, the more likely that that person is to watch your specific video. And you have to do this before you record, because if you start recording the video and then you're trying to figure out the packaging and you're not sure if the packaging is going to work, then you are just not going to get the results, right? And a lot of the time it's just not going to perform as well. So make sure you figure out the packaging, and that was meant to say scripts, by the way. So whoopsie. Scripts. So the whole goal is to create some sort of FOMO, and when it comes to the packaging, just try to use bright colors. And I'm not saying that it has to be some sort of rainbow, but just make something that whatever's going to catch your person's eye, right? Compare it to another very similar video, and which one is most likely to grab people's attention. If it's not your one, make it better or fix it, right? And that's essentially it. And the title, just make it as intriguing as you possibly can, without, you know, you essentially want to push a bit into clickbait, but you don't want to clickbait, but you want to slowly just push it, because the more clickbait it is, the more likely people are going to click it. So just slightly push the boundaries, but just be very careful. The last thing you want to do is on a clickbait, because then comes in the scripts. Now, the scripts essentially have 3 parts, right? Which is the intro, the body, and we've already touched on this slightly, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. I have other videos on this that break this down even more, and the outro, right? So the intro, essentially, there's 3 things you want to do. Number 1, confirm that they've actually clicked on the right video. If they, again, go back into this clickbait thing, if they feel like they clickbaited or they clicked on the wrong video, or you make a video titled and packaged as one thing, and in the start of the video just talking about something completely different, people will click off. So you have to, the first thing I always recommend is confirm the video. That within the first 7-ish seconds are extremely important, and you can play around. You have to literally sit there and say, this video is XYZ. You can make a super intriguing first line that is saying this is the same video that you clicked on, but just make it more intriguing. And you can play around with this, and you can get creative, but you have to be very careful. If you are a beginner and you're not sure on how to do it, just literally confirm the title, right? In this video, we're going to talk about XYZ, and then go into what we're going to talk about next, which number 2 is to give some sort of social proof. So here already, we are starting to sell the you, right? From the get-go, from the start. Why should they sit there and watch this? Watch you talk about this specific topic. And then number 3, you want to give them a reason why they should stay and watch this video. And this doesn't mean this specific order, but those are the 3 things I'd recommend to include within the intro. The intro, by the way, should be maximum 30 seconds for B2B. You just want to get straight into the knowledge, right? But you've got social proof, and then you've got the why. Right, so you want to confirm the video, you want to give them a reason why they should watch you speak about the video, and then give them a reason of why they should watch this specific video. Why should they spend the next 15, 20, 30 minutes with you, or however long the video is? I don't know how long this video is, it's going to be a long one, right? But why should they spend all that time with watching this specific video? What are they going to get out of it? What is the end goal? What is the end result, right? Because if they feel like they're just going to waste their time watching the video, they're not going to watch it. Now, the body is very simple, right? I can go into scripts and techniques and all of this, but the whole point of the body, you don't want, obviously, just make sure it's structured in a way that makes sense. If you're going back and forth between a whole bunch of different things, right, it's going to be a jumble mumble. People are going to get confused and click off. But the main thing of the body is to give as much value as you possibly can, right? Keep feeling that if they click away, they're going to miss out on something. Keep making them feel, wow, this is extremely valuable, I'm learning so much, right? Treat every single video as if you're building out the best course in the world, right? And just give as much value as you physically can within the video. There's certain techniques you can use, like creating curiosity loops, where it's like, oh, you know this now, but with this next section, we're going to if you don't watch the next section, then all of this is irrelevant, blah blah blah, all these things, right? But the most important thing with the body for in the business context is give as much value as you physically can. Essentially, just break down the topic of the video, answer the question in as much detail as you possibly can, and in the outro there's 2 CTAs, right? CTA number 1 is going to be to take the next desired step. So, my gosh, whatever. That desired step could be to book a call. It could be to join the newsletters, to get the lead magnet, to check out your website, to go to your landing page, whatever it is. There's multiple ways to do it, and it's just about, give them a specific reason why. And by the way, this exact CTA, you want to do it within the body at some point as well, or throughout the body, but do not stop the video to do this call to action. Just add it in naturally and gradually throughout the video. And then the second call to action you want to have is to another video, because as we mentioned earlier, session time is extremely important. If someone can go from one video to another video, not only is that improving the way that the algorithm, YouTube algorithm pushes you, but it also improves that the trust that person has with you. The more time they spend with you, the more they are likely to, the more they trust you, the more they're likely to buy from you. This video's gone on for too long. But anyways, so those are 2 call to action you want to do. Number 1, the desired step that you want the ideal person to take. But again, a lot of people are just not ready to take that step yet, and that is completely fine. We just then direct them to another video, and a video that directly aligns with what you're doing. So if I'm doing a video, for example, on this, maybe my next video could be to, breaking this specific thing down a lot more detail. Or, in order for all of this to work, I recommend you to find out exactly how we do XYZ step by step, right, to make sure this works, whatever it is. Right, and this is the thing you have to sit down and plan, right? But they essentially make sure it's directly aligned with that, and they feel like, again, creating that sense of FOMO that would create when they clicked on this video initially. If they don't watch the next video, they are just missing out. So this is kind of how I look at titles and packaging and scripting. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Now, one thing that I do want to get into very quickly is SEO, right? And it's something that a lot of people don't speak about, but it is I have found incredibly important for the results that you want to get. Because a lot of time B2B, you want to appear in a search. To appear in search, you have to optimize your videos as best as possible around SEO. Now, there's some things that go into SEO when we're talking about SEO, we're talking about these things. I'm just going to write them down. Right, so these are the different bits of SEO that essentially matter, and also the thumbnails in there as well. So I'll just put the thumbnails in there, right? And this all comes down to the research that we were doing before. I remember I was talking about vidIQ and finding keywords. So you essentially want to find a specific keyword that relates to the topic of that video. And this is more specific for search, right? To help to land in search, but also to just guide YouTube to make sure you're being pushed to the right person. Right, so when you find this keyword that you most likely have found through vidIQ, through doing your research, you want to essentially include this keyword in as many times as possible, right? And then once you ideally want to do one specific keyword or one specific video, right? One keyword for one video. You want to do one video that's optimized around multiple keywords. One video, one keyword is going to help YouTube a lot better to know who and where to push it to. So you want to obviously utilize that keyword within the title. You also want to utilize that keyword within the top line of the description, because if you go and you search any video onto YouTube now, usually the top of the description shows up before you click on the video. So you want to include it in that top line. You also want to include it as many times throughout your description. Now, when you're writing a description, essentially, yes, you want to talk about, and we're talking about like a bulk description, we're talking about the description in general. We're talking about like when you write a description about what a video is about, right? You want to, yes, talk about what the video is about, but you also want to describe it and utilize that keyword as many times as physically possible, right? Without it seeming a bit too spammy. And when you can do that, essentially just guides YouTube again, this exact keyword for this exact person that is either searching this keyword or watching content related on this keyword. And then you also want to include chapters, and every single time you do chapters, which by the way, chapters helps with 2 things. It helps with improving watch time, which as we described before, is incredibly important to keep YouTube to pushing out your video. And number 2, it helps to push the amount of keywords you're being pushed for, right? Because again, searching a video on YouTube for a specific keyword, you're going to see that the chapters appear there, and these are more places to essentially rank for keywords. So utilize keywords within the chapters and include chapters to not just include more keywords, but to also help the watch time, and then do tags, right? Tags are not the most important thing. They're not going to help you the most, but put a bit at the bottom for extra keywords, extra topics, and just use something like rapid tags to help you find extra tags. You put in one keyword, which will be this keyword, and it's going to give you a bunch of extra keywords that you can put within that video to just give you a bit more guidance. Now, some people say SEO doesn't matter, and yes, there are videos that perform incredibly well even without SEO, but if it's going to help, why not just include it, right? Why not just put it in there? It will, even if it helps a tiny percent or 1%, right? You might be reaching a specific person that you wouldn't have reached without SEO, whatever it is, right? It doesn't hurt you. You're not affecting your video negatively by putting it in there, so just put it in there. Every single bit of information or any single thing you want, you can use to just, even if it gives you the slight chance of getting your video to be pushed more to that exact person to get you better results, why not do it? So include it as many times as possible. And also the thumbnail helps, right? YouTube analyze the thumbnail, sees keywords, and it sees what the video is about. So ensure that if you can, use specific keywords within the thumbnail as well. And again, I have videos that break this down in way more detail, and I'll make sure to link them so you can go away and watch those if you want. And look, this is essentially it, right? The last thing I want to talk about, and I've already spoken about it before, down here, is consistency, right? You have to stay consistent. Every single video you upload is going to compound on top of each other, and by doing this is how you're going to get the best possible result. As I've already mentioned, YouTube works in a thing where the longest people watch you for, not only do they trust you more, but also YouTube trusts you more to push out your content more. So the more videos you have, the more time someone can watch you, the more time they can spend on your content, the more watch time you get, the more session time you get, and the more YouTube pushes you. And this just compounds and compounds and compounds and compounds. And also 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line, whilst your newest video is being pushed rapidly or heavily by YouTube to the exact person you want to push to, because you've had 6 months of them pushing that video to that specific person, you also have videos from 6 months ago being pushed to your audiences because you optimized that video extremely well, so it's still being pushed out. Now you have this video and 12 videos being pushed out for you simultaneously, all at the same time, right? And you can only have that, and you can only reach these goals and really grow your business through YouTube for staying consistent. So I'd highly encourage you to stay consistent. And if you want help to stay consistent, and if you want help with the best possible strategy to number one, keep consistent, and number two, to help you see better results, then book on a call using the first link in the description, and we can just have a super quick chat and chill chat about YouTube. You can ask me any questions you want, and we can go from there. But if you want to watch another video essentially breaking down how to make the perfect YouTube video in extreme detail, then I would recommend to watch the video on screen now. We kind of break it down, go through results, go through specific videos that have done really well, and it's going to be insanely valuable if you want to start uploading your first video on how to do that in excruciating detail. So go watch that there, and I'll see you there. Bye bye.